The Green and White Army's greatest footballing success came in 1958, where they qualified for their first World Cup and reached the quarter-finals, losing to an outstanding French team. Since then, they have qualified for 2 World Cups in '82 and '86 and played their first European Championship finals last year in France. Here is Northern Ireland's definite 15-man squad, and don't forget that you can select 3 reserves from 8 later in the video. Pat Jennings. Jennings is Northern Ireland's most capped player of all time, with 119 appearances for his country. A rare legend for both Spurs and Arsenal, Jennings won the FA Cup with both clubs and a further 3 trophies at White Hart Lane. Harry Gregg. Gregg spent 9 years at Manchester United, where he astonishingly survived the Munich air disaster. Capped 25 times by his country, Gregg was named the best goalkeeper at the 1958 World Cup and is one of the only 2 Irish players to ever make it into the World Cup All-Star team. Bill McCracken. Belonging to a rare breed of footballer who has had such influence upon the game that they caused the rule of the sport to be altered. And McCracken's offside trap did just that. A one-club man who spent 2 decades at Newcastle United, McCracken was a quick, intelligent fullback who went on to become a long-term manager of Hull and Aldershot. Aaron Hughes. Hughes has won 106 caps for his country and has been a rock for almost 2 decades and is still going strong despite being aged 37. The former Newcastle man has spent most of his career in the Premier League, but has now gone north of the border and is playing for Hearts in Scotland. Terry Neill. The second defender in his squad to have managed Hull City, Neill is best remembered for his 11 years at Highbury with Arsenal. It was a barren spell for the Gunners at that time, but Neill was always impressive for them. He won 59 caps for Northern Ireland while serving for Arsenal and as a player-manager for Hull City. Tony Dunne. The former Manchester United man has the 8th most appearances for the club. He won 2 league titles, the FA Cup and the European Cup with United, as well as winning 33 caps for Northern Ireland. Jackie Blanchflower. The lesser known of the Blanchflowers, Jackie had a great career, but it was ended at the age of just 24 by the Munich air disaster. A really classy defensive midfielder, Blanchflower had already scored 26 goals and made more than 100 appearances before his tragic passing. Danny Blanchflower. Whilst Jackie solely played for Man United, Danny also made appearances for Barnsley, Aston Villa and Tottenham. In fact, he was ranked as Spurs' greatest ever player in 2009 and spent a decade at the Lane, winning 2 FA Cups and a league title, as well as 1 European title. He was named the FWA Footballer of the Year twice and won 56 caps for Northern Ireland. Jimmy McIlroy. A quick and creative attacking midfielder with excellent technique, McIlroy spent 12 years with Burnley at Turf Moor, as well as playing for Glentoran, Stoke and Oldham. A First Division title winner in 1960 and an FA Cup finalist in 1962, McIlroy won 55 caps for Northern Ireland. Billy Bingham. A quick and industrious right winger who was a handful for any fullback in the 50s and early 60s, Bingham spent his best years with Sunderland, as well as turning out for the likes of Glentoran, Luton and Everton. Peter McParland. McParland was a standout player in Northern Ireland's best ever performance at a tournament at the 1958 World Cup. Incredibly, he scored just 1 goal fewer than Pele and scored braces against West Germany and Czechoslovakia, as well as a stunning strike against Argentina. At club level, McParland spent a decade with Aston Villa, winning the FA Cup in 1957 and a game that he scored twice in a 2-1 win over Manchester United. George Best. The greatest Northern Irish footballer to have ever lived and one of the most naturally gifted players to have ever graced the game. Best won the First Division, the European Cup and the Ballon d'Or at the age of just 22. Perhaps peaking so early, twinned with his well-documented lifestyle, saw the Manchester United legend depart at just the age of 27. He scored a total of 181 goals in 474 games for Manchester United, as well as winning 37 caps for Northern Ireland. When asked before a game against Holland if Johan Cruyff was a better player than him, Best said, "You're kidding, right? I'm going to nutmeg him at the first chance that I get tonight." And after 5 minutes, Best did just that. He basically ran across the pitch just to nutmeg Cruyff and left him for dead. David Healy. In terms of ability, Healy is probably the weakest player in this squad. He scored semi-regularly in the Championship with Preston and Leeds United for most of his career, but never really managed to step up to the Premier League. With Northern Ireland though, Healy was prolific and scored 36 goals in just 95 caps, making him his country's all-time leading goalscorer. Joe Bambrick. This centre forward certainly did seem at ease in the top flight of England. Despite spending most of his career in Northern Ireland with Glentoran and Linfield, where he scored an eye-watering 314 goals from just 205 games, he joined Chelsea at the age of 30. After 3 seasons with the Blues, Bambrick had scored 34 goals in just 59 games. While his club records are incredible, his international records are a little bit tame, because he only played 11 games but did score 12 goals. Just imagine if he played more. Billy CUSH. The man who replaced John Charles as the captain of Leeds United, CUSH scored Northern Ireland's first ever goal at the World Cup in a win against Czechoslovakia in 1958. So that's it for the definite 15-man squad. It's now over to you to decide which 3 players from the following 8 make it to the final team. ELISHA Scott, former Liverpool and Linfield goalkeeper, 31 caps. GARETH McAULEY, former Ipswich and current West Brom defender, 72 caps at the time of recording. Jimmy NICHOLL, former Man United and Raith Rovers fullback, 73 caps. Martin O'Neill, former Nottingham Forest midfielder, 64 caps. NEILLENNON, former Leicester and Celtic midfielder, 40 caps. Norman Whiteside, ex-Man United midfielder, 38 caps. Peter Doherty, former Blackpool, Man City, Huddersfield and Doncaster midfielder, 16 caps. Derek Dohan, former Aston Villa, Leicester City and Wolves forward, 43 caps. And that's the reserves. It's now over to you to vote in our poll, comment in the comments or tweet us at HITC Sport on which 3 players you think should make it into the final squad. Be sure to help out our channel by leaving a like and sharing this video, and if you already haven't, how about hitting that subscribe button?